Now, I've always been some sort of creative at a young age, whether it was decorating cakes for family functions because I was the fat kid with the sweet tooth, or making beats for my friends to freestyle rap around the cafeteria tables at school. I had to create something. As a creative, I've delved into many things like music, film, art, cooking, cryptocurrency. You name it. But how did I become such an individual? I mean, after all, I could have never made anything my whole life. So, what really started this journey of creativity? Well, at a young age, I loved cartoons just like the next kid. But one day, it was something that sparked a different side of creativity. That something was Scooby Doo. Yeah, that's right. The show about the dog. But what would Scooby have to do with creativity? Well, there was a defining moment where Scooby and Shaggy were running from this ghost and they ran towards a bookcase on the wall. But they didn't stop. They ran right through this bookcase as it revealed itself to be a revolving hidden door within the space. And this was just mind blowing for me as a child. There, I realized what you saw may not be what you saw, and creativity really can go as far as you're willing to take it. This led me to take up architecture as my major for my bachelor's. But as Robert Greene states as strategy number three, you should avoid the false path. 2 years into my architecture degree, I realized that the degree plan wasn't for me and that my original interest in designing houses in high school was not to be an architect, but to design my future of what I wanted and where I wanted to be. I just so happened to be good at it. After graduating with my bachelor's, I had built a certain level of resentment towards my family because I realized they never really supported me in the things that I was naturally best at, like music and art, but the things that didn't really interest me at all. As Green states, in order to master a field, you must love the subject and feel a profound connection to it. Learning about Green strategy number four, letting go of the past, I had to realize and release that hurt and not allow myself to be connected to that kind of pain of not being fully supported in the ways that I wanted. And this too, like many other creatives, becomes a struggle that we may have to remind ourselves to overcome over time. Remembering that we should view our life's path as a journey with twists and turns rather than a straight line can also help through our fallen expectations. As a child, besides cartoons, another one of my favorite pastimes was playing games. And before video games were something that we could afford, it was card games and Monopoly in our household. As we played Monopoly, I often wondered why we couldn't take the money in the game to go to the store up the street and buy snacks. Obviously, I was rich in the game, but not in real life. And ideas like this ultimately led me to design my own cryptocurrency. But after receiving my first master's in innovation and entrepreneurship, I constantly reflected over one of the most important pieces of information, and that was to stay within the youthful mindset of creativity. This concept comes from Green's first strategy, returning to the origins. When reflecting moments happen, I think of what I did most of a child, and that was playing video games. It actually brought a certain level of joy and peace for a young mind to think with grit, solving a problem, completing an objective, and overcoming any obstacle that may stand in the way. And as Green states, we must become who you are by learning who you are. With Green's second strategy, finding the perfect niche, I realized my passion was to educate others on turning their ideas into a problem solving product or service through creativity. And this is reflective of how I became an educator teaching art to students during COVID year of 20 to 2021. I realized teaching was the only career that I've ever had that never felt like a job. And now I'm working on my fifth strategy of Green's finding your way back. For the second time around, I'm now expanding my knowledge on the next major project of my life. Within the next 3 weeks, I look to research three of my favorite video games I've ever played as a child and searching for the story mode videos on YouTube for each of the games and watching it fully through, writing at least 10 takeaways from each that I can implement within my own future design. And I also look to find the creator and the production team behind the video game projects through Google searching and following them on LinkedIn to network and gain insight through connection later within the path of development and research.